Hello everyone, I'm Shannon Slatton in Brooklyn Park. Here's a look at today's top stories.
Hi, I'm SONYA GOINS and I'm near Victory Memorial Parkway. Real estate in this area is very desirable. The homes are large, the gardens are spectacular. However, many of the people who live here are white. This could have something to do with the fact that many of the homes in the area were once part of a racial restrictive covenant. The Roaring '20s was a time of change in Robbinsdale and all across the country. Horses were replaced with Model Ts, flappers and short dresses were a thing, and many people got their first radios. But it was also a dark time in our history. As cities started to expand, racism guided how neighborhoods developed. Starting in the 1920s, many neighborhoods had what's known as racial restrictive covenants or housing segregation.
When somebody bought a house from somebody else, what they would put in the covenant or what they would put in the deed to the property is to say that you would not be able to sell this property to somebody else, in this case, for people who are African American.
These are two deeds from the 1920s to a home on Zane Avenue in Robbinsdale. They were drafted 3 years apart and both contain a restrictive covenant. It states, the home shall only be sold, rented, or otherwise disposed of to people of the Caucasian race.
There were a lot of covenants that also applied over time to, let's say, different ethnic groups or different religions. But the most prominent type of covenants were these ones that basically prevented you from being able to sell your house to a person of color.
This interactive map by the University of Minnesota Mapping Prejudice Project shows a time lapse of where racial restrictive covenants were applied in Robbinsdale during the first half of the 20th century.
Actually, the border between Robbinsdale and Minneapolis is the most interesting part of our map. You can see how there's a wall of restricted properties all along the border. And we Robbinsdale as a suburb was created right at this moment that racial covenants were really coming into become kind of standard.
In 1948, the Supreme Court prohibited the enforcement of racial restrictive covenants, but this didn't stop people from doing this privately. The Fair Housing Act passed in 1968 and made discrimination in housing illegal. And although racial restrictive covenants are no longer enforceable, the consequences of the contracts are still being felt today.
Places that had covenants in place are still the whitest parts of the metro today. Making them illegal was not enough to really change the demographic patterns.
Some homeowners may be surprised to learn racial segregation language is still hidden in property records in many Robbinsdale neighborhoods.
It shouldn't be on there. That's kind of archaic and discriminatory. I don't like it.
However, locating your property deed and then finding if restrictive covenant language is on the title could be challenging.
I would definitely remove it. If obviously I don't know it's there, my wife doesn't know it's there, and if we look at it and find out it's there, we'd be more than willing to get rid of it.
Getting rid of racist language on property deed is an arduous process, as Robbinsdale City Council member Bill Blonigan found out.
I research my title by myself. I then ask, in the case of registered property, for a director of the title examiner to take this off. I pay $46.
During Tuesday's City Council meeting, Blonigan and fellow council members approved a system to make it easier for residents to remove derogatory language off property deeds.
Getting it off your title is just an emotional, educational, and moral thing to do, and that's what this is all about.
For more information on racial restrictive covenants, log on to our website, ccxmedia.org. In Robbinsdale, SONYA GOINS, CCX News.
I'm Eric Nelson for CCX News, and today we are at the Community Activity Center parking lot in Brooklyn Park, where the weekly farmers market is taking place. And boy, have we worked up an appetite. And joining us now is Jake Patton from the farmers market. And Jake, let's start with all the changes and the new guidelines surrounding COVID-19 and people coming here.
Definitely. I think the biggest change we're starting with is we changed locations this year. The Zane Sports Park over there was very big parking lot, very hard to kind of close down. We have a direct flow of traffic. As you look down the lines, there's orange arrows that run through all the way through our market to see every vendor. We have hand washing stations when you walk in. We're heavily recommending masks as you come in as well. One of the biggest things that MDA put out that I really like is they're asking people to stay 1 cal length apart. And I think it's kind of fun to think about it that way. 1 cal length will keep you that social distance and keep you safe while you're out here. We have our vendors are touching all the produce for you. They are making sure that other people are not going in. They got barriers up to make sure that you guys are safe whenever you do get your produce, whenever you take it home and wash it, that there's only being a little bit of contact on it.
And a lot of vendors out here, a lot of canopies. This is growing each year, isn't it?
It is. It's been growing for many years. This being my first year of directing it, got a lot of different things going on. We're trying to help our vendors that are from all over the state, a lot of here in Brooklyn Park, but all around the state here that are trying to help their businesses grow. We're trying to help them out with that. So giving them a space to do that and giving them the space to have consumers come in.
And people love farm to table. They love fresh food, and that's what this is all about, isn't it?
That is exactly what it's all about. You look around, you see all these great things that people have worked very hard to farm and grow out, and it takes weeks and weeks, and we get new things every week as they start growing. You'll see it. You'll see new things come in every single week that you can just tell that that's farm to table. It's going to go right to your table, and it's going to be fresh for you every week.
So we're smack dab in the middle of the farmers market season. How long does this run?
This will run through October 7th. Every Wednesday from 2 to 6:30. We'll be out here through that October 7th date.
All right, thanks so much, Jake.
Thank you.
He's Jake Patton. We're again at the Community Activity Center parking lot for the weekly farmers market in Brooklyn Park. I'm Eric Nelson for CCX News.
Maple Grove softball team didn't get a chance to defend its state title this spring because of COVID-19. As Jason Malillo reports, they're getting together this summer to get back in the swing of things.
On a beautiful July evening, the Maple Grove softball team starts its summer workouts. You might call it therapy by softball.
To be here with the whole program and working again, and it feels alive, like it feels like it's come back to life.
A lot of these girls play on travel teams and have other summer commitments, so the Crimson will practice only 1 night a week.
I would say we definitely try to focus on some of the basics, just getting back into it, because some of the girls have been, playing with their club teams, but a lot of them haven't had anything, so, just getting back into our throwing patterns and hitting.
We're just really trying to hit on key points of things that we emphasize during the season, so the kids don't come in and they don't know the vocabulary or exactly what we're talking about. At least they have some idea.
Maple Grove won the state softball title in 2019. The pandemic robbed the Crimson of its chance to defend that title, and that was a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, it was really difficult. I think we were super pumped for it. We had been working since the fall, the year before, and we had a lot of returners. I think we had 4 or 5 that had been in the lineup for the state tournament, so we were really excited. But yeah, and we worked really hard, so we were ready, but it was really disappointing.
And while the future is uncertain, hopefully the work these girls are putting in now will pay dividends come spring 2021.
Good swing! There we go!
Jason Malillo, CCX Sports.
The high school boys basketball season ended before the state tournament could be played. Now the focus turns to this coming season. John Jacobson caught up with the Wayzata Trojans as they get back into the gym.
A potential high school basketball season is still 4 months away. At Wayzata, the Trojans boys team is following the Department of Health guidelines for workouts, but otherwise preparing like they do any summer.
Basically what we've done normally. We guys are going to play today. We're going to do one-on-one, work on offense, work on defense. Major difference is we're not playing any summer tournaments like we normally would.
We're more of just working on building team chemistry because we lacked that a lot last year. But it's fun to play with a lot of guys because a lot of guys graduated last year, but putting in a little bit of offense and just getting things going.
After a canceled spring AAU season, many of the guys are playing a brief summer schedule with their respective teams. Every Monday through Thursday morning, though, they are back practicing with each other again. A welcome respite after a long 3+ months away from school.
I mean, the whole time we were gone, it was tough, because we weren't seeing anybody, but being back, just being with everyone, it's a lot of fun, and that's what I enjoy the most, just being with the guys.
It's been really fun to be back in. I mean, guys missed it. I miss seeing them. They miss seeing each other, and it's been really fun to be back in.
Despite a good effort in the 6-4A semifinals against eventual section champion Hopkins, the Trojans finished 2020 with an 11-17 record. With a solid core of players back, they are optimistic the team will be better in the winter ahead.
There's not a season that I've played here, Wayzata, thinking we're not going to be good, but I think this year we really have a shot at something special with all the guys that come together and put all the effort into the team, and I think it's going to be a good season.
The reality right now is that there is still uncertainty about high school sports in the year ahead. Coach Brian Schnettler sure hopes he sees students back in school come September.
I taught online for the last 3 months of the school year like everybody else did, and it's just not the same. It's not the same. The relationships aren't the same from teacher to student and student to student, and to me that's the biggest thing. The academic side, the stuff that you're learning matters. Obviously it's important, but the relationships and the connection that the kids get when they're in person and they're face to face is what matters the most. And I think it's the biggest reason we need to be back as safely and as quickly as we possibly can.
Thanks, John. For more sports stories, check out our website, ccxmedia.org, and thanks for watching.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.